Hearing from Jen Deerinwater from jendeerinwater.com, and I'm Kathy Vartuli from the intimacydojo.com. And Jen, we're talking right now because you're going to be presenting at the Woodhull Sexual Freedom Summit on reproductive justice in the front lines, showing up for Indigenous people. And I love that you're talking about it. I knew there were issues, but I never, until I'd heard from some other people like you that are standing up and saying, hey, this is an issue, I didn't understand how complex it was.
For me, as a Native person who is Indigenous to Turtle Island, which Turtle Island is what we refer to as North America, I feel like I have to constantly remind people not just of the issues that we face, but that we still exist.
Yeah.
I recently saw, I can't remember the exact statistic, but it was somewhere in the 60 percentile of Americans don't believe natives still exist. They think we're all dead.
Oh, wow.
So for me, talking about reproductive justice and Indigenous people is important on so many levels. It touches with, environmental issues and issues of environmental racism. It's ableism that we deal with within our communities, the lack of health care, and it's how genocide has played out for us in so many ways. It's not just the literal murder of our people, it's also the theft of our land, our language, our ceremonies, all of our ways, and that becomes a reproductive justice issue. If we can't practice our own religions, how do we heal from colonization? How do we heal from the sexual assault and the forced and coerced use of sterilization on our Indigenous women and female-bodied people? It's a queer issue as well, because before the white invasion, a lot of our nations had multiple genders. We didn't do the gender binary. My people didn't anyway.
Yeah.
So that's a very long-winded answer to why you should care about Indigenous people and reproductive justice.
Well, thank you so much. Why is Woodhull a good place for you to share this? Why are you...
Well, I think that anywhere I have the opportunity to help teach and give voice to any of my communities, Native or otherwise, is a space I want to be. And I feel like with Woodhull, there are going to be people coming in that the majority of them don't know much about Native people. They don't know much about these issues for us. But I think that it's going to be a place where the people are open to learning, and not just learning, but also taking that education, that knowledge, and moving forward with it to do good with it. To me, reproductive justice, it's about saving my people. It's about our lives and going from just also surviving to thriving. But because of all of the violence that we've had inflicted upon us, a lot of us are also not in touch with our own sexuality. We're afraid of it, or we've completely absorbed all of the horrible messages around sex and sexuality from the colonizer. And so I feel like that's another really important aspect to being at Woodhull, is because I want all of us natives to find our way to that sexual freedom and that pleasure and all of those wonderful great things.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. And I find Woodhull a really great place because we're all wanting to, we all have a very common mission, even if we have different groups we're supporting or different doorways we're going through. There's a lot of passion, and I find it very recharging. This battle can be so, there's nights I come home and I'm just there's not a lot left. And then just being around other people, I'm not alone, and I can learn from these people. That's a really good tip. I didn't think about that one. I go every year because I love that. I love that energy. Yeah. So if someone wanted to learn more about reproductive justice and the topics you're talking about, what's a good place for them to go? Where could they find, besides, they should definitely go to your talk at Woodhull. But where else can they look to get more information on this? Because it's if we heard about this happening in another country, we would be up in arms. There'd be people protesting and raising money and donations, and yet this happens in our country, and most of us don't even know about it. Where can we go to get more information?
Well, there's a few organizations that I really like. They may not necessarily use the term reproductive justice, but the work they are doing is part of reproductive justice. So IEN, the Indigenous Environmental Network, they're really great. They do a lot of work around treaties, sovereignty, environmental racism, things of that nature. I also really love it's the National Indigenous Women's Resource Center.
Mm-hmm.
They are great. They do a lot of work around sexual assault, domestic violence, trafficking, healthcare issues. And then the Two Spirit Nation. That's another that was started by Candy Brings Plenty at Standing Rock. One of our relatives, Courage, started the Two Spirit Camp, and then Candy Brings Plenty created the Two Spirit Nation, which is an organization. So I think that's another really great one too, because it reminds everybody that we have all these multiple genders and identities and things that we're working to decolonize. And another one that I really love is I have acronyms in my mind, so I always try to botch it when I say the names. It's the National Native Youth Sexual Health Network. That's what it is, and they're based in Canada, and they do a lot of really great work too. So there's so many places that people could go to learn and engage, but those are some of my favorite organizations.
That's wonderful. Thank you so much for your generosity and all you shared, and I can't wait to see your talk at Woodhull in a couple months.
Thank you. Yeah, thanks, I'm excited.
If you're watching this and you have questions or any ideas that you want to share, please leave them below and we'll try to get them answered for you.